the saddest things about everything that's happened is I think it's just this horrid polarizations where, you know, on both sides, you know. I've heard people say, well, I've stopped talking to somebody I've been friends with for 30 years because they're a Republican, or, oh, I can't go to that restaurant because it's owned by a Democrat. And to me, it's like, we're all in this together, and we have to work together. And what you were saying before, and that's why I jumped ahead and asked this question, is how would you, you know, try to bring everybody together again?
Thank you for that. And a couple of ways. Number one, I hope you have seen my work for 14 years and judge me by that, in addition to my language here. Language is important. And so, despite my enormous disagreements with what Governor Walker has done and how he has done it, I use respectful language. Number two, in my 14 years of experience of bringing people together, whether it was compromises on the courthouse, reforms of the criminal justice system, bringing builders and realtors together with environmentalists on and land use and environmental matters. You know, look at the manure digester, you know, that we got built. Really complex science and complex politics and complex economy, economic issues of getting farmers to work together and finding a new technology and finding a way to clean up our lakes and help grow our dairy herds here. You know, got that done by that kind of collaborative approach. But in addition, what I have said is, and I got to back up for this one, because okay, you know where I was born, you know about my grandparents, but then before I was your county executive, my family moved to Waukesha County, which many of you know now is about 2-to-1 Republicans. Been the scene of a little political controversy on election days. That's where I then grew up in what was rural area then called Big Bend, and then we moved into the city of Waukesha. And that's where I learned my love of the outdoors. Like people here in Sun Prairie have tremendous resources right outside your back doors. That's what I had. And so I hunt, I fish, and you know, I have a passion for our natural resources. And this was now during Watergate, Vietnam War, very first Earth Day, women's rights and civil rights, and our country was like this, our country, right? The clashes and the disagreements and the frustration. And so I loved my country and I wanted it to make better decisions. And I knew that one of the places you could get the kids to do that was to go to law school. I only knew one lawyer, a girlfriend's dad, but I learned that in civics class. So I went to law school, and then this was right after getting out of law school. I worked for Wisconsin's Environmental Decade and was arguing cases in the state Supreme Court 3 months out of law school, taking on big and powerful institutions and winning. And I spent the next 20 years as an environmental lawyer helping people all around Wisconsin, many of those years as your public intervener. And so when I became county executive, you know, we also then, that was a different job. Being the county executive is a different job of being the environmental lawyer. And so I took those lawyering skills in negotiation and brought them to the county executive job. And remember my agreement that I reached with Governor Tommy Thompson on Highway 12. Those kinds of agreements of getting things done and working with people that you disagree with in order to solve a problem and move us forward. So I say that all as a context again for the pledge that I have made, the promise I have made, that the day after the election, I will go to Waukesha County. It's symbolic for lots of reasons. It's where I grew up, but it's also a county that's got 2-to-1 Republicans. And I think that's the right place to go. It's the right place to start this healing. And I made this promise, but then I spoke to the Waukesha County Dems shortly thereafter. And it was a room full of like this, and perhaps more people than here, but a similar kind of room. And at the beginning of the meeting, the chair of the party said, do you mind if we do a show of hands for whom this might be the first meeting like this that you have ever come to? And about a dozen hands went up. And I remember one of the hands was about from me to where you're sitting right there. I just remember seeing him sitting there. And so then I did my presentation, and we took questions like this, and that gentleman raised his hand, and he said, this is the first time I've ever been to any meeting, anything like this. And I said, well, why did you come? And he said, I came because my family members don't talk to each other anymore. and it's too painful. I can't stand it any further. We've got to heal. We've got to move, have this election and move forward. And that drove him to come to a meeting for the first time. And so I think that is symptomatic of how a lot of people feel. It's with, though, a sense of seriousness. You know, Clint Eastwood said it in that infamous Super Bowl ad. You
It's
know,
not infamous, it's famous.
Famous, thank you. He's a mediator by profession. Language is important.
There's another one down there.
Let me just finish the thought, which is, what Clint Eastwood said was, we gotta finish the job. And so that's why what I see and sense from people around the state. It's a dead seriousness. Let's have this election. It's in 2 months. We will change who our governor is. It is hopeful, it is serious, and then it's, let's get our state back where we're talking to each other and solving problems together.
So we're going to end the next question, and we'll switch back, but now that